Hello, and welcome back to US History and Elections. Well, it's been quite an exciting couple of days, a few days nail biting, and realistically, we still do not know who the presidential election winner is. We've seen races being called for the Democrats, we've seen races being called for the Republicans, and at the moment, I'm going to be going by New York Times because I do think they have the best projections at the current moment. Joe Biden currently has 253 projected electoral votes to Donald Trump's 214 projected electoral votes, and the remaining swing states that haven't been called yet are Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, and Nevada. Alaska has not been called yet, but this is simply just because it's too early. Alaska always takes a very long time to count due to the geography of the state, but Alaska will be going to Donald Trump 110%. But just before we go into the states I'm going to cover and see where the races are at the current moment, if you just want to look at the last time this was updated, I'm making this video at just after 5:30 Eastern Time, and we're going to go back to my prediction that I made on Monday. Now, I'm sure if you've been watching my channel, then you've probably been watching a lot of prediction channels, and realistically, I have one of the best predictions out there. From what we've seen Iowa and Ohio go strongly, almost at the 2016 margin for Donald Trump. Texas is looking about 6 points for Donald Trump when it's all said and done. And I roughly got these correct, even though I said they were lean margins. I did think Iowa and Ohio would be 4 or 5 points, and Texas is slightly more than I thought it'd be. But they're still, basically pretty safe for the Republicans. I think the biggest state that I wasn't sure about is Florida, and I put it as tilt margin. I said Donald Trump will probably win this state by 1 point. I didn't account for the huge Cuban shift. I thought there was going to be somewhat of a shift, but not 20 points in favor of the Republicans in southern Florida. I did not expect that, and that is probably the state that I've got most incorrect at this point. Michigan and Wisconsin, of course, they've been very tight. We saw Donald Trump leading in the election day votes, and once they've counted in the mail-in votes, Wisconsin's gone to Joe Biden, sorry, by 20,000 votes, and Michigan is a lot larger margin. We're looking at about a 3-point lead for Joe Biden there, 150,000 of votes. So realistically, Michigan and Wisconsin overall are, pretty close. And Arizona as well. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But the only one that I've definitely got wrong is Maine second district. I said this would be a tilt margin for Democrats, and I did say in the video my prediction. Any of the tilt states that I have, realistically, I could see them going either way for either candidate. And Georgia's definitely very close at the moment. But Maine second district looks has been called for the incumbent president, and realistically, Maine overall did go for a lot larger margin than it did. Well, it went a lot larger margin for Joe Biden than it did for Hillary Clinton, and the difference between Maine second district is no longer 10 points. It might be about 6 or 4 points. So I was, closer, but at the end of the day, I was incorrect in that congressional district. That is counted due to Maine's voting, how it works there. But at the end of the day, that second district is really not going to play much of an important role in the election. And so far, my races could be almost entirely correct based on the projections that we're seeing so far. Now, yeah, so if you want to compare this to a lot of other channels, Let's Talk Elections had the entire southeastern area of the United States going blue. It may have been by a tilt margin, but he said it was going to go blue. That obviously didn't appear. I had it completely red, and at the moment, that seems what it could be. Georgia is still up in the air. North Carolina is likely to hold on to for Donald Trump, even with 5% of the vote still to be counted. Now I'm going to move back onto the election map. I'm just going to refresh it, see if we get any more information. And I'm just going to cover the important races. I'm not going to cover the Senate in this video. I'm going to cover that later on when we know exactly how some of the races have gone, such as North Carolina and Arizona. We still do not have final figures from there. But I'm going to start in Nevada. And realistically, there's been quite a lot of jokes thrown around at how slow Nevada has been counting, and it's nothing that's unexpected. Nevada in 2016 was very, very slow to count. And again, we're seeing a very slow counting process, especially in Clark County, where the registrar of the county has basically said that of the 170,000 votes remaining, in the state. 90% of these are in Clark County. Clark County currently going for Joe Biden for about 8 points. Will basically show that if that is true, then Joe Biden will likely edge out just ahead of President Trump, even though at the moment the vote total is basically 12 points, and you're looking at about just a narrow 1 point lead for Joe Biden. But with the tallies in Clark County coming in over the following days, we'll probably see that go for even larger margin for Joe Biden. But they're not going to call that yet because we do not know exactly where these votes are coming from. And North Carolina again is in the other direction. There's currently an 80,000 vote margin roughly between Joe Biden and the president. And I don't think that margin is going to be narrowed enough by Joe Biden to take a win in the state. I think Donald Trump, looking at the areas where there's still vote to come in, of course, there's quite a lot of Republican counties and quite a lot of Democratic counties with votes still to come in. I think it's going to narrow somewhat, but I do think Donald Trump is likely to hold on to this state that he currently has, which is currently not projected. But looking at the simple math, it does not seem like Joe Biden can get enough votes from the uncalled or from the exactly as it says here that they are accepting mail-in ballots that are postmarked on election day, but can be received up until the 12th of November, and that's a long time. That's about a week from now. So we're not going to get final figures from North Carolina for a while, but it's highly unlikely Joe Biden will be winning there. And Pennsylvania. This was the Keystone State has been, widely focused upon before the election and definitely during the election. And what we're seeing is that Donald Trump, at the end of the early or the on-person counting, he held a 10-point lead in the state. That has now been whittled down to almost a 1 point lead. And the current lead is 90,000 votes for Donald Trump. We've seen him lose his 600,000 vote lead. And realistically, if we're looking at the counties that haven't got all of their votes in, Philadelphia County, quite a lot come in there. I think that's Bucks County. Yep, quite a lot to come in from there. Lake County, very, very tight where Allentown is. Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, Lackawanna County seems to be almost entirely tallied up, and Delaware County as well, quite a strong county for Joe Biden. And just by looking at the sort of trends, Centre County as well, which is narrowly going for the former vice president as well. Just by simple math, what we've seen in the mail-in voting, what's coming in, is that it's been about 77 or 78% in favor of Joe Biden. This is no surprise. President Trump has been criticizing it for months, and it's really not much of a surprise to see that he's getting less than a quarter of the mail-in vote that is solely being counted. And we could see this state be called, or a clear enough realization of who is going to eventually win this state by the end of the night. And at the moment, if we just continue with the current trends, Joe Biden would probably just edge it over Trump and bring back and just overtake him. Currently, he's 90,000 votes away from the president. But if Joe Biden did win Pennsylvania, then it would be all over no matter what else happens. Now we're going to move on to Arizona, and quite a few places actually called this. I don't know why they called it. That was very premature of them. We saw the Associated Press and Fox News call that state. I do believe Fox News have since rescinded their projection for the state because we saw Joe Biden have a healthy 10-point lead. A healthy 10-point lead when quite a lot of the early voting was counted and the in-person vote was counted, but we still had 25% left on election night or just after in the Wednesday morning. And many of the other ones, such as New York Times, never called this state, and you can see why. Joe Biden's lead has narrowed significantly. He now only leads by 3 points and just under 70,000 votes, and this is looking somewhat decent for the president. Of course, a lot of the votes that still are yet to be counted are in Maricopa County. I've talked a lot about this in the run up to the election, and it's going to be a nail biter. I don't think it's fair enough to predict anyone at this point. And I think those projections for Arizona were very premature. And at this moment, about 5:45 Eastern time, we do not know who's going to win Arizona based on the large amount of votes still to come out of Maricopa County. Now, Georgia, who would have thought that this race would have been as close as it is? Now, at the moment, Donald Trump leads by 0.2%, 9,000 votes, and it has been whittled down over the past few days. The mail-in votes, the absentee ballots have been counted slowly. Of course, there was a court challenge in Chatham County. We're seeing the final votes come in there. We're seeing a few of the final votes come in at Clayton County very strongly for Joe Biden. And realistically, this is going to come down to the wire in Georgia. We're going to see no candidate get more than 10,000 vote margin. Whoever wins in this state, whether that do be Donald Trump. If Donald Trump does win in this state, once all the ballots are counted, it's going to be about 1 to 3,000 vote margin. If Joe Biden wins, it's going to be roughly the same on the other side. Georgia is going to be very similar to a Florida 2000 result, and for the election results, if anyone wants to know, that's not good, because most of the counties that still are yet to come in are most of the Joe Biden counties. Even though most of the Atlanta counties have called or had nearly all their votes in, Clayton County is definitely one that hasn't had it all in yet, and Chatham County, both are Biden counties at the moment. I'm just going around the state seeing if there's any other ones. Taylor County, a lot less populous than the other two I was talking about, but then again, there's still 10% of the vote to come in from there, and that's where Donald Trump could see his lead possibly, be sustained there, but it's looking like it is. Clayton County, of course, there was the leakage in the voting center or the counting center in there, so that's why it's been delayed in Clayton County. And Chatham County, from what I've heard, is they have quite a different way to count the votes in that county, and that is why it's taking so long there. But at the moment, it is going to be neck and neck in Georgia. We could see a tie, we could see a narrow Biden victory by a few thousand votes, or we could see Donald Trump narrowly hold on to Georgia. But at this moment, the race overall is too close to call. North Carolina's probably going to go Republican. Alaska's probably going to go Republican. Nevada's probably going to go Democrat. And this is just looking at the trends. Pennsylvania is too early to call. And same with Arizona and Georgia. Actually, Georgia's probably too close to call, if anything. There's likely going to be the recounts. We've heard a lot of Trump campaign complaining about the way the vote was or the tallying was done in these states. I don't want to comment on any of that now, because that's going to be going to the courts, and realistically, we're not going to see this uh, presidential election called for a matter of weeks. So, thanks for watching. I'm going to hopefully keep you updated on what's going on in the coming day or days. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned, and I'll see you all again soon.